as a guy, you're with your fellow guys now, you guys will talk about everything. You'll be screaming, shouting, like the conversation sometimes never ends, and you're like, oh, I need to start going so I don't miss my next appointment. But hello, everybody, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Crystal, and I'm always super excited to sit here and talk to you guys. All right, so you know how having conversations with the opposite sex sometimes could be a tug of war, like literally a tug of war. Like for the guys, particularly, you know, sometimes you could start a conversation, but being able to keep the conversation going becomes an absolute work of art. Like it becomes something that's so tedious. It's almost like a task that's going to make you sweat. So yeah, I figured I should say one or two about it. Perhaps it might just help somebody out there. All right, so for guys, how to not just start conversations with girls, but how to make sure that the conversation ensues. Because you know how, like, as a guy, you're with your fellow guys now, you guys will talk about everything. You'll be screaming, shouting, like the conversation sometimes never ends, and you're like, oh, I need to start going so I don't miss my next appointment. But then when it comes to a girl, sometimes you're just static. You just sometimes blank out, as particularly when it's somebody you're meeting for the first time. You might be meeting a girl for the first time and you like her, but then you don't know how to, follow up on the conversation, so you could actually have a conversation and not look like one stalker, or not have her think of you as being a creep. You understand? So yeah, that's the essence of why we're having this conversation today, and I hope that these little tips of mine would be able to help. Meanwhile, if you're watching this video and you haven't subscribed, please, the subscription button is just at the bottom, okay? So just click on it. Do well to also like the video, and at the end of it, if you like what we've talked about, please do well to share the video as well. Thank you so much. So tip number one, talk about music. Ladies like music. I mean, it's like the butter in between their bread. You get, ladies like to talk about music. So ask the lady what her favorite artist, or who her favorite artist is, what the trending song at the moment for her is right now. You could now dive into the songs that are on the top of the charts right now, and whether or not they resonate with you or whether or not they resonate with her. Now, always try to make sure that the focus is on the lady and find out what exactly it is that drives her musical passion or makes her musical clock tick. You get what I mean? Yeah. Second point, you talk about work. Now, you need to know that when you talk about work, sometimes it could be a very boring topic, because really, who wants to talk about work? I personally don't like to talk about work, because after the hectic day and everything I've been through, that's the last thing I want to talk about. But that's my cup of tea. It might not be the same for another person. But if you're talking about work, try not to make it sound too cumbersome. Try not to make it sound like work. Right? Let it come from a perspective or an angle of wanting to know what she does, how she does what she does, the kind of people she works with, how her work environment is, where she wants to be in the future as regards to her career, that kind of stuff that could make a conversation continue to ensue. And then if you're talking about her work, try not to make it about you or what you do, particularly if you have like a good job. It might come off as though you're trying to be a bit arrogant. So minimize the you, and make it focus on her. You get what I mean? And the conversation will ensue and keep growing. Number three, and this is a very important one, hobbies. Every single person has hobbies. And then people love to talk about what they love. I mean, I'm a creative. If you come to me now and you're talking about stuff that has to do with art and creating, my antennas will just keep standing like, oh, wow, okay, I want to talk, I want to go on and on. I want to tell you about my experiences. I want to tell you about things I want to do in the future, what I'm doing now, So people always love to talk about stuff they love. So talking about her hobbies, bringing it up in a very subtle manner that doesn't look too cliche, is always going to be an amazing tactic to, build up conversation. Because once someone talks about stuff they love, they open up, they are vulnerable, they want to keep going on and on and on, and the person would obviously loosen up. So for guys, that's a good one to try with a lady. Number four, travel. Most people love to travel. I mean, who doesn't want to experience new cultures, new people, a new environment? It helps in so many different levels. So people also want to talk about that. So you could ask the lady, like, what's in terms of traveling, like, okay, first of all, always start by, don't come with an expectation that everybody has traveled. Some people have not traveled, some people will travel. So if you have, maybe your entire passport is stamped, good for you, but don't come at her from that regard. It might seem, a bit standoffish and somewhat arrogant. Let's talk about, like, her plans. Like, are there places she would want to travel to that she hasn't traveled to yet? If she's already a natural traveler, you definitely get to know from the conversation with her. So talking about travels would be an amazing point to bring up and have a conversation ensue and just, keep flowing. Number 5, pets and animals. Most ladies love to have pets. Most ladies. I mean, everybody generally really loves pets, but ladies particularly really, 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 really love pets. So if the lady is a lover of pets and animals and then you bring that up as a topic, trust me, it's something that will light her up and she'll just want to keep talking, because like I said previously, people always love to talk about what they love. So if she loves pets and animals and you bring it up, that's a conversation that's going to keep flowing. Number 6, pet peeves. Things she doesn't like, things you don't like. That's always a good way. And then it will also help you to know if you guys have some sort of synergy, if there's some sort of, a point where you both can meet halfway. It will also help you know if you both are compatible, because sometimes things you don't like, the other person might like it. But if both of you are able to sync, and then things she doesn't like are things you also don't like, you see that you guys have been able to realize or find a common ground. But in a situation whereby you don't realize or find a common ground, then everybody could just, move on with their lives. But then, if you're talking about your pet peeves, try not to bore her with how arrogant your boss is or how much you don't like your boss. Please, nobody really cares about that. Try always to make it about her, because she's the one you're trying to start a conversation with. Whenever you tilt the arrow back to yourself, keep it minimal, keep it decent, and keep it polite. Number 7, dreams. Everybody has dreams, everybody has visions, everybody have things they want to do. So when you're talking about dreams, when you want to have that conversation, ask her about her dreams, things she aspires to do, future plans, where she wants to go with them, steps she's taken so far. If it's something she's really passionate about, you'd realize that she's just going to keep talking and talking and talking, and one thing will lead to another, to another, to another, and the conversation, uninterrupted, would ensue. Number 8, naughty stuff, naughty stories. I'm whispering. But you need to be very careful. If you're going to talk about naughty stuff, nasty stuff with a stranger, you want to be very careful so that you also don't come off as being creepy. And then you must also try to read body language and view her gesticulations and all, to see if she's comfortable having those kind of conversations with you, particularly being that most likely you are a stranger. So if she's not that kind of person who doesn't vibe in that manner, do yourself good and immediately switch it, because some people might take it as being very rude and disrespectful. You might just end up getting slapped. So you need to be very vigilant. Know what it is you're trying to do, and look at the receptiveness of the person you're talking to. If the person is not feeling the vibe, don't push it. You might just look like some creep. Don't push it. Move on. There's a lot of of other things to talk about. It doesn't have to be anything nasty or indecent, if you know what I mean. Next point, education. Particularly if this person is maybe in school and still has a long path ahead of her. You might want to explore if this person wants to be in the career of academics, or vice versa. If there's more she wants to accomplish, if she wants to further, it's always a good place. If she would want to maybe travel for school, that is always a good place to start, to having conversations with a girl, because she would want to give you the list of, oh, I have this dream, I have this, Ivy League this, Ivy League that, it just continues like that. And then you could also chip in and say, okay, this is what I've done so far, this is where I'm headed, this is what I would like to do. It's an amazing conversation starter. Finally, number 10, you could talk about love. I mean, people love love. I love love. Don't you love love? Talk about love. Talk about love interests. Talk about things she loves to do. Just things that she loves generally. And like I had said earlier, when it has to do with things people are passionate about and things that they love, it's always hard to put a full stop. There'll be lots of hyphens, hibernations, commas, very hardly a full stop. So talk about things she loves, things that, she wakes up, things she could do effortlessly without having to think about it, things she could just carry on doing. You could, when people talk about things that you could wake them up in the middle of the night and they will have no problem doing, those are things that they love. So you want to talk about those things and then watch how this conversation ensues. And one thing will lead to another. And before you know, you just might have found yourself a friend, probably a soulmate. Yeah, that's simple. All right, so yeah, that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed the little tips I gave on, conversation starters with ladies. This is for all the men. So for that lady you've been trying to talk to, these are some of the ways you could, try to get into her heart. Don't just go look at her and just stare blank and be hoping that she would be the one to talk. No, she's not talking. You are the guy. You talk. You want to have that relationship. You want to build it. You want to start it. You want to create it. You talk to the lady, and then you just see how everything metamorphoses from there. This would also help you because you might be saving your time. This person you might even like might not be into you like that. But by starting a conversation, you would know if this person is feeling you or not. Life is too short to waste it. Don't waste your time on somebody that's not going to reciprocate what you want. Voila. Yeah. All right. Thank you guys for watching. Don't forget, subscribe, like, and share this video. And make somebody smile today because it doesn't cost you anything. I love you for watching. Peace.